Hello friends, this is Sanjay. In today's video, we will be solving all the 30 mathematics questions from the CTET December 2019 previous question paper, paper 1. In this video, I have solved all the questions in English. If you are more comfortable with Hindi, then there is a separate video where I have covered the same questions in Hindi language as well. So let's get started with the questions. 3 brands of pens, A, B and C, are available in packets of 10, 12 and 24 respectively. If a shopkeeper wants to buy equal number of pens of each brand, what is the minimum number of packets of each brand that he should buy? Now, the question is telling us that each packet contains 10, 12 or 24 pens of these brands and the packets cannot be opened. Therefore, if the shopkeeper wants to have the same number of pens of all these 3 brands, then what should be the minimum number of packets that he should buy? And the way to solve this problem is to find the LCM of these 3 numbers first. LCM is the lowest common multiple. So 10, 12 and 24. So 2 5s are 10, 2 6 are 12, 12, 5 1s are 5, since then 2 3s are 6, 2 6 are 12, then 3 1s are 3, 3 2s are 6. Therefore, the LCM will be 2 into 2 into 2 into 3 into 5, which will be 120. Therefore, to find how many packets the shopkeeper has to buy, we have to divide this 120 by the number of pens that each packet contains. So for A, we'll divide 120 by 10. So it will be 12. And for B, it will be 120 divided by 12. So it will be 10. And for C, it will be 120 divided by 24. That will be 5. So 12, 10 and 5 should be the answer. So 12, 10 and 5. So this is the correct answer. The side of a square is 4 cm. It is cut into 4 equal squares. What is the area of each small square? So let's just draw one square of the side 4 cm, which means that this square will have 4 cm on each side. Now, if we cut it into 4 equal pieces, then each small square will have a side of 2 cm, because this is half of 4 cm. Therefore, the area of each small square will be 2 into 2, that is 4 square centimeter. So 4 square centimeter is the correct answer here. Which of the following statements is not correct? So we have to identify the incorrect statement among the options. Now, after reading the statements, let's start with the easiest one first, which says that there are only 4 single digit prime numbers. So if we write down all the single digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So we see that there are only 4 single digit prime numbers, which are 2, 3, 5 and 7. Therefore, this statement is correct. Next, a prime number has only 2 factors, which is also correct because that is what prime numbers are all about. Prime numbers are divisible by themselves or by 1. Therefore, this statement is also correct. There are infinitely many prime numbers. If numbers are infinite, then obviously the number of prime numbers will also be infinite. So this is also a correct statement. All prime numbers are odd numbers. Now if we see here, 2 is a prime number, but it is also an even number. Therefore, this statement is incorrect and we have identified the incorrect statement here. A number that is divisible by all the numbers from 1 to 10, both inclusive, is which of the options? So let's start eliminating some of the answer choices. If a number has to be divisible by 10, it has to end with 0. So we can eliminate 604. Now let's start with 2. We see that all these numbers are even numbers. Therefore, they are divisible by 2. We can ignore that. And next move to 3. Now 10 is not divisible by 3, so this cannot be the answer. Similarly, 100, when we divide by 3, we'll get 33.33 something. Therefore, this also cannot be the answer. Therefore, we are just left with one answer choice, which is 2520, which happens to be the correct answer. So that way, by eliminating some of the answer choices and starting with the simplest possible options, we have arrived at the correct answer easily. Ayesha has only 5 rupee and 10 rupee coins with her. If the total number of coins she has is 25 and the amount of money with her is 160, then the number of 5 rupee and 10 rupee coins with her is what? Now there are two ways of doing this. One is the algebraic method where we say let 5 rupee coins be x and 10 rupee coins by y, and we do the calculation to solve for x and y, and that is the more complicated way. There is a much more simpler way of doing this by just doing the basic multiplication and see which of the options actually adds up to 160. For example, if we multiply all of these by 10, because these are 10 rupee coins, and we multiply the numbers here by 5 because these are 5 rupee coins, so they should add up to 160. So this one is 90 plus 70, so it adds up to 160. So this is the correct answer. Let's also solve the other options and see if we are on the right track. So this will be 50 plus 150, it will be 200, and this will add up to 75 plus 100, so 175, and this will add up to 100 plus 50, so 150. Therefore these three cannot be correct because they don't add up to 160. So we have easily arrived at the answer through simple multiplication. Evaluate this equation. Now to solve this, we'll have to use the BODMAS rule, which means that first we'll have to solve any brackets. There are no brackets, so let's ignore this. Orders, there are no orders or powers, so we can ignore this. Division, so there is one division, so we'll solve this first. So 21 divided by 7 is 3, so put that there. Next, let's go to multiplication. There are two multiplications, so we'll solve them next. So 12.5 into 3 will be 37.5, and 17.5 into 3 is 52.5. So there is a minus here and a minus here, and there is no addition, so we can ignore this. And next we'll have subtraction, which is the last one. So if we subtract 52.5 minus 3 minus 37.5, we'll get 12. So 12 is the correct answer. 1/6 of the trees in a garden are neem trees. Half of the trees are Ashoka trees and the remaining are eucalyptus trees. If the number of neem trees is 5, how many eucalyptus trees are there in the garden? There are two ways of approaching this problem. One is the algebraic method, where we can say that let the number of neem trees be x and Ashoka trees be y and eucalyptus trees be z, and we form an equation and solve it for x, y and z. Or the much more easier approach is just to use the numbers and the fractions that are there in the question and arrive at the answer much more easily. For example, we know that 1/6 of the trees are neem trees. Therefore, if 1/6 are neem trees, and we have also been told that if the number of neem trees is 5, which means that 1/6 is actually 5. If 1 is 5, then what is this 6? So we just have to multiply 5 into 6 and we get 30, which means that 30 is the total number of trees in the garden, and half of the trees are Ashoka trees. So 30 divided by 2, that is 15, is actually Ashoka trees. So we are left with a balance of 15 trees. Now we know that 5 trees are neem trees. Therefore we subtract 5 from here and we get 10. So this 10 has to be the number of eucalyptus trees. So 10 is the correct answer here. So this way, instead of using the algebraic method, we can use simple fractions and multiplication by and arrive at the correct answer. A train leaves Delhi on 29th August at 16:30 hours and reaches its destination on 31st August at 8:45 hours. The total travel time of the journey is what? So the train has actually traveled on the 29th and it has also traveled on the 30th and it reached its destination on the 31st. So on 29th, because it started at 16:30 and it traveled all the way till midnight, that is 0000, it would have traveled for a total of 7 hours and 30 minutes. And on the 30th, because no information is available, we assume that it traveled for the entire day, and that will be 24 hours. And on 31st, it reached its destination at 8:45. So which means that it would have started at 1 minute past midnight, and it reached its destination at 08.45. So it would have traveled for 08.45 hours. So if we add up all of these, so we will get 15 minutes and 40 hours. So the correct answer is 40 hours and 15 minutes. In which of the following lengths have been arranged in a decreasing order? So we have to find the largest one and then move towards the smallest one. Since there are different units that are used here, that is there is mm, there is centimeter, there is decimeter, and there is meter. Let's convert all of these into a common unit for easy comparison. So 8500 mm. So if we divide this by 10, because 10 mm is 1 centimeter, we'll get it in centimeter, which will be 850 centimeter. And the next one, that is 800 cm and 8 mm, is already in centimeter. So let's write it as 800 cm and 8 mm. Then 800 decimeter. A decimeter is nothing but 10 centimeters. Therefore, if we multiply this by 10, we'll get the number of centimeters. So it's 800. And we also have 8 centimeters here. Therefore, we have to add those up and we'll get 800 plus 8, which will be 808 centimeter. And the last one is 8 meter. And since 100 centimeter is 1 meter, so we'll have to multiply this by 100 to get centimeter. So we'll get 800 centimeter. So the largest one has to be 850 centimeter or 8500 millimeter. So we can eliminate this and this because they don't start with the correct option. So it has to be either this or this. The next one has to be 808 centimeter. So we can eliminate this as well because it does not have 808 here. Whereas this has 880 decimeter and 8 centimeter, which is 808 centimeter. So this has to be the correct answer. We can check the other two as well. The next one should be 800 cm and 8 mm, which happens to be here. So that's correct. And the last one is 800 centimeter or 8 meter. So that will be here, and which is correct. A 180 centimeter long wire is formed into a rectangle. If the width of this rectangle is 30 centimeter, what is its length? This is a very simple problem that can be solved through visualization. If a 180 centimeter long wire is formed into a rectangle, first draw a rectangle like this. And we have been told that if the width of this rectangle is 30 centimeter, therefore this side has to be 30 centimeter. And the opposite side will also be 30 centimeter because this is a rectangle. And this 180 is nothing but the perimeter of this entire rectangle. Now, if we take 180 as the perimeter and subtract these two sides, that is 30 plus 30, that is 60, from this 180, we'll get 120, which has to be the total of this plus this. Therefore, 120 divided by 2, that is 60, which has to be 60 centimeter and 60 centimeter, which are the other two sides. Therefore, this is the correct answer. When asked to write 44, some students of grade 2 wrote it as 404. As a teacher, how will you address this? Now, what is the mistake that these grade 2 children are committing? When you ask them to write 44, they wrote it literally as 40 and 4, which means that their concepts are not clear and they don't understand the place value of numbers, which is expected because these are grade 2 students. Now, how will you address this? Look at the first option. It says correct their answer in their copies. Now, if you just correct their answers in their books, you are not actually teaching them any concepts. You are not clarifying their doubt. Therefore, this cannot be the correct answer. Next, explain principle of exchange using concrete material. Now, concrete material can be Danish blocks, or they can just be pieces of papers which you give them and ask them to sort them into different groups so that they can understand the concept of numbers, writing numbers, and the place value of numbers. So, principle of exchange using concrete material is a correct answer. Next is group them with those who have done it correctly. By grouping the children who have committed mistake with those who have done it correctly, what are you going to achieve? Nothing. You are not going to solve their doubts. You are not going to teach them the concepts. Therefore, this cannot be the correct answer. And the last one is tell them to find out the correct answer, which they will do. They will probably go home and ask their parents, or they will ask their elders to check on the internet, and they will find the correct answer. But as a teacher, are you addressing this? No, you're just telling them to find out the answer from somewhere else. Therefore, this cannot be the correct answer. The main purpose of introducing mapping in the primary mathematics curriculum are what? Now, there is very basic mapping that is introduced in the primary level itself, and this mapping is essentially simple tasks like write the route or try to write a diagram of the route from your house to the school, or it can be a simpler exercise like draw a map of your classroom, so that students can get a good understanding of spatial thinking. In a sense, they are getting a sense of where they started from their house and how they walked, and they passed a shop in the middle, they passed a tree in the somewhere in the middle, and they reached a school. So this is a very basic exercise which helps in spatial thinking. And an exercise where you are drawing a map of your classroom can help in proportional reasoning. That is, you are saying that the size of the classroom is this much, and the size of the blackboard is this much, and the door is here, and so you are looking at proportional thinking here. Therefore, the correct answer here is to promote spatial thinking and to promote proportional reasoning. Now, to make the subject easy and interesting might be an answer to a certain extent, and to break the monotony of the numbers is also a correct answer to a certain extent. But if you look at the answer choices, there are just two choices that we have to select. Therefore, the best two choices are A and B. Therefore, it will be A and B here. Which of the following topics are not part of the primary school mathematics curriculum as per the NCF or National Curriculum Framework? Now, this question can be answered in two ways. One is, if you are aware of the basics or the details of the NCF, then you'll be able to identify which of these options is not included in the primary school syllabus. This can also be answered through common sense. If we understand what are the options, we can easily identify which one of them is not taught to primary school students. For example, when we are talking about tessellation, this is tessellation where the same pattern is repeated without any gaps to form other patterns. Tessellation is taught to primary school students and it is used for teaching various other concepts. Therefore, this is included. Next, we are talking about symmetry. Symmetry is also taught to primary school students. Therefore, this is also included. And patterns definitely are used for teaching various things to primary school students. For example, if students are asked what should come here, then they should be able to identify that it should be a square. So patterns are used. And ratios definitely are not used in primary school syllabus. Therefore, ratio is the correct answer here. Which of the following resources or teaching and learning materials can be used by the teacher to show that two rectangles of different dimensions can have same area without using a formula? Now, when we look at the given options, we see that scale is used for measuring length, and this is not the easiest thing to use for measuring area. Therefore, this cannot be the option. Graph paper is used for measuring area of simple figures. Therefore, this is a correct answer. And a thread again is used for measuring length. So this cannot be the correct answer. And tiles can be used for measuring area. Therefore, this is a correct answer. So the answer will be B and D, which is this. I can show it to you in a live example. If you look at this graph paper, this rectangle, which is also a square, is actually 4 into 4. So the area of the square is 16 square centimeters, whereas this rectangle is 2 into 8, and the area of this rectangle is also 16 square centimeter. Similarly, tiles can be used to show that different figures with different dimensions or different rectangles with different dimensions can have the same area. Therefore, option B and D is correct. Which of the following could be a contributing factor to underachievement in mathematics? Now, when we look at the answer options, the first one is gender, which cannot be a factor because whether it is a boy or a girl, mathematics remains same. So this cannot be considered as a factor. Next is nature of mathematics. This also can be discarded because whether it is a boy or a girl or a person from a rich family or a person from a poor family, the nature of mathematics does not change. So this also can be discarded. Then we have the innate ability of a person. This could have been a factor during a later part in life or later stage in life. However, we are talking about very young children here, primary level children, and we go with the understanding that the innate ability of all very young children remains the same. So this also cannot be a factor for underachievement in mathematics. We are left with one option, which is socio-cultural background, which is the correct answer. That is because a person from an affluent family or from a middle class family might have access to better resources, such as better internet access or maybe access to better coaching or better online classes, where the person can actually practice more in mathematics and do well. Therefore, that is a factor in why they are doing well in mathematics. Whereas a person from a poor family might not have access to the resources, might not have time to study because he or she has to help his or her parents after school. So socio-cultural background plays a part in the achievement or in the underachievement in almost all subjects. Therefore, this is the correct answer. Which of the following is the most appropriate strategy to explain that 1 by 4 is less than 1 by 3? Now, there can be more than one option through which these two fractions can be compared, but we have to identify the most appropriate or the most easiest strategy, especially when it comes to young children. Now, LCM method can be used to compare these two fractions, but this is way too complicated for primary school children, so this can be discarded. Using paper strips is the easiest method, so this is the correct answer. For example, if I have two paper strips like this, and the first paper strip is divided into 4 parts like this, and the second paper strip is divided into 3 parts, then it's very easy for the child to see that 1 by 4 is actually less than 1 by 3. Therefore, paper strips is the correct answer. The other two options, that is Dionys blocks. So these are Dionys blocks, and these are good for showing addition, subtraction, division, and even multiplication, but not good for comparing fractions. So this can be discarded. And similarly, a number chart will help us recognize patterns in numbers, but not comparing fractions. Therefore, this also can be discarded. Which of the following is the most important aspect of making a lesson plan while teaching mathematics to primary school children? Now, the first one is following the sequence of the textbook. This can be discarded because very often we see that the teacher might decide that teaching lesson 8 before teaching lesson 5 is more easier, or the teacher might decide to jump from lesson number 2 to lesson number 6. So the sequence of the textbook can be changed as per the requirement of the teacher and the classroom. Therefore, this is not the most important aspect. Then presenting mathematical concepts in a structured manner. Now, when you are teaching mathematics to primary school children, you will use various experiments, you will use various examples, you will use play to teach mathematical concepts. Therefore, presenting them in a structured manner cannot be the most important aspect. So this is also discarded. Next, providing opportunities to students to allow construction of concepts. This is a very important aspect because when you teach a child that 3 plus 3 is 6, then the child might just understand the theory. But if you make the child do an experiment where he or she has 6 sticks in 2 baskets, and he puts all of them into one basket, and he sees that 3 plus 3 is actually 6. So such construction of concepts and such experiments will help in enhancing the learning process. Therefore, this is the most important aspect. So this also is supported by the old saying that if I hear, I forget, and if I see, I remember, but if I do, I understand. So allowing children to practically do the things that they are learning will help in enhancing their knowledge. So this is the correct answer. The last one is writing activities and questions for reference. This is a very trivial part of the entire learning and teaching process. Therefore, just writing about the activities and writing questions for reference is not the most important aspect. Which of the following cannot be considered as a feature of a constructivist mathematics classroom? Now, the constructivist approach says that students should be encouraged to construct or build their own understanding and build their own knowledge with inputs that are provided by the teacher, by the classroom, by the surroundings, by the family, by the social atmosphere. Therefore, the students should be encouraged to develop their own understanding of various concepts. Now, if you look at the answer choices, the first one says that the role of language and dialogue in learning mathematics is given due attention. This is absolutely true because by using appropriate language and dialogue, you are strengthening the mathematics concepts. Therefore, this is a correct statement. And the next one is that the teacher acknowledges that students may construct multiple understandings from the same given interaction. This is also a true statement, because when you are allowing students to develop their own understanding, they may look at a common interaction in two different ways and develop their own understanding. Therefore, this is also a part of the constructivist approach. Next is objective type test items are used as primary means of assessment. Now this can be discarded because it is not necessarily a part of a constructivist approach, because whether you use objective type or essay type, it doesn't matter as long as you are using the appropriate assessment to measure the learning of the students. Therefore, this is not an option. The last one is connections between mathematics and other curricular areas are highlighted. This is true because when you are teaching a student and trying to develop their own understanding, then you are trying to interrelate between what they are learning in mathematics with what they are learning in social studies, or what they are learning in science with what they are learning in mathematics. Therefore, such connections are highlighted. So this is a correct statement. Which of the following statements is in agreement with the constructivist view of mathematics? Now, constructivism is an approach where students are encouraged to develop their own understanding of a subject based on the information that they are given and based on the experiences that they are having. Now, I will cover constructivism in detail in a separate video, but for the sake of this question, let's look at the answer choices. And the first one is mathematics is about learning facts. Constructivism goes much beyond learning mere facts. Therefore, this cannot be the answer choice. Next, mathematics are required to discover the truth. Now, truth can be discovered by a comprehensive understanding of various subjects, including mathematics. So just mathematics is not the only thing that is required to discover the truth. Therefore, this cannot be an answer choice. Mathematics is entirely objective. This is absolutely false, because mathematics has both objective and subjective components. Next, visualization is an important aspect of mathematics. This is a correct statement, and it is in line with the constructivist view of mathematics, because visualization is where the student is going beyond the mere numbers, such as 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, and is able to imagine these numbers in real world situations, such as 3 sticks plus 3 sticks in 2 separate boxes when put together become 6 sticks. So such visualization is an important aspect of learning and teaching mathematics, and this is in line with the constructivist view of mathematics. Which of the following activities is best suited for the development of spatial understanding among children? Now, what is spatial understanding? This is nothing but the ability to look at an object and imagine it in the context of its length and breadth and other dimensions such as volume. For example, if you were to go to a furniture shop, you look at a particular table, then you are able to mentally form a picture of whether this table will fit into the space that you have in your house. So this ability is nothing but an example of spatial understanding. Now, when we look at the answer options, the first one is drawing the top view of a bottle. This definitely helps in development of spatial understanding, because you are visualizing a bottle from the top and converting that three-dimensional object into 2 dimensions on a paper. Therefore, this definitely is the correct answer. Look at the other options. The first one is locating cities on a map. This does not help in spatial understanding, because it just tells people that you are able to identify where a particular city is located on that particular map, which happens to be an image. So nothing to do with spatial understanding. Next is noting the time of moonrise. Again, you're just remembering some time, memorizing some time of a moonrise. So nothing to do with spatial understanding. Next, representing numbers on a number line. This might help you with understanding patterns if you are representing numbers on a number line, but nothing to do with spatial understanding again. So this also can be discarded. Which of the following is not true with respect to the learning of mathematics? Now, the first option is ability to perform and excel in mathematics is innate. This is an incorrect statement, because nobody is born with mathematical knowledge. So mathematics is not innate. Mathematics can be taught. Therefore, since we are asked to identify the incorrect statement, this statement is incorrect. And the next one is teachers' belief about learners have powerful impact on their learning outcomes. This is a correct statement, because if the teacher is confident about the students are encouraged and they definitely do better. Whereas if the teacher displays that he is not confident about the students, then the students will have a negative impact and they will start feeling discouraged and they will not do well. So this is a correct statement. Next, students' socio-economic background impacts their performance in mathematics. Again, correct statement, because a student from an affluent background will have access to better resources. They might have access to better computers, or they might have access to better tutors, private teaching or online courses. Therefore, they have resources to be able to learn and do better in mathematics. Whereas a person from a working class background might not have the time and the resources required to actually study. Maybe like the student has to go help his or her parents after going back home, so lack of time, and the parents cannot afford to buy expensive online courses or expensive computers. So again, lack of resources. Therefore, students' socio-economic background definitely impacts their performance in mathematics. So this is a true statement. And the last one is, the school's language of instruction can impact a child's performance in mathematics. True statement. And this is also in line with what is mentioned in the NCF, that is the National Curriculum Framework, where there is an emphasis given to teaching, at least in the basic years, to teaching in the child's mother tongue, because the understanding is that when a child is taught in his or her mother tongue, then they can grasp all the subjects better, including mathematics. Therefore, the school's language of instruction can definitely impact a child's performance in mathematics. Correct statement. Identify the type of the following word problem. I have 6 pencils. Manish has 2 more than me. How many pencils does Manish have? Now, to come to the answer, what you have to do is compare the number of pencils that you have with what Manish has, and since Manish has 2 more, you are adding that 2 to what you currently have to arrive at the answer. Therefore, it is comparison and then addition. Therefore, this is the correct answer. Since there is no subtraction here after the comparison, it cannot be comparison subtraction. And since you are not taking away anything, such as I have 5 pencils, if you take away 3 pencils from this, I'll be left with 2 pencils. So such takeaway is not happening here. So it cannot be any sort of a takeaway problem. Which of the following is not true of the Hindu-Arabic system of numeration? The first one is, the position of a digit in a number indicates its value. This is a correct statement, because in the Hindu-Arabic system, we use the concept of place value of a number. Therefore, position of a digit dictates its value. So this is a correct statement. Next, it is additive in nature. This is true, because if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 1 plus 1 is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So in this manner, it is actually additive in nature. So this is a correct statement. It follows the base 2 system. This is incorrect, because Hindu-Arabic system of numeration follows a base 10 system and not a base 2 system. Therefore, this is the incorrect statement and the answer to this question. The last one is, it is multiplicative in nature. This is also a correct statement. For example, if we multiply 10 into 1, we get 10. Into 2, it becomes 20. Into 3, it becomes 30. So there is a definite relationship. Therefore, it is multiplicative in nature. So this is also a correct statement. Identify a desirable practice for teaching geometry at a primary level. So focus on the fact that we are talking about teaching geometry at a primary school level. The other thing is, they are asking us to identify a desirable practice, not identify an incorrect statement, which means that more than one of these statements might be correct. So we have to identify which one is the most desirable practice. The first one is, geometry at a primary level should be limited to recognition of simple basic shapes. This might be true, but then again, children are already exposed to relatively complex geometrical patterns such as octagons, decagons, and even a star is a relatively complex shape. Therefore, limiting them to simple basic shapes is something that is probably not the most desirable practice. So this can be ignored. Next, the teacher should begin by giving clear definitions of simple shapes and showing examples. While showing examples may be desirable, giving them clear definitions is not required, because they are just trying to recognize the shapes. Definitions will not help at this point at a primary level. Therefore, this statement can be ignored. Next, children should be given ample opportunities to develop an intuitive understanding of space. This is true. And this is what is also mentioned in the NCF, that is the National Curriculum Framework, where it is mentioned that children should be given opportunities to develop an intuitive understanding in all subjects, or not just mathematics and geometry. For example, children are given a lot of geometry related toys such as blocks to play with so that they can develop an intuitive understanding of geometry and space. Therefore, this statement is correct and this is the correct answer because this is the most desirable practice. And the last statement is developing extensive geometric vocabulary need not be an objective at a primary level. This statement is true, but at least some level of geometric vocabulary has to be developed. For example, they should be able to express that this is a circle, this is a square, and this is a rectangle. So some level of geometric vocabulary is required, but extensive not required. This is a correct statement, but since we are identifying the most desirable practice, this is the correct answer. Which of the following is an indicator of mathematical reasoning? Now, in questions like this, there can be multiple correct answers or many of the answers can be ambiguous. But we have to identify which one of them is the best indicator of mathematical reasoning. The first one is ability to provide definitions of mathematical concepts. This just shows that you have mugged up or memorized the definitions, not that you actually understood the concepts. Therefore, this cannot be an ideal indicator. Next is ability to provide justification for a mathematical procedure. This is a correct statement because here, if you are able to provide justification for a mathematical procedure, then you have not only understood the procedure, but you also know why you are doing that particular process, and which means that you understand the concepts. Therefore, that is an indication of mathematical reasoning, and this is the answer here. The next one is ability to calculate efficiently. This means that you are good at calculating something, but it doesn't mean that you have understood the concepts. Therefore, this cannot be a correct statement. Next, ability to recall the correct formula for different situations. Now, this again means that your memorization is very good. You have actually managed to remember all the formulae, but it doesn't mean that you have understood what is the concept behind the formula and why you are using that particular formula. Therefore, this also cannot be the strongest indicator of mathematical reasoning. Among the given options, the best option is that the ability to provide a justification for a mathematical procedure. The price list of vegetables in a supermarket is given below. So, there are a set of quantities that are given here. This is a very simple problem. All that we have to do is multiply the quantities with their prices. For example, Sanjay buys half kg of tomatoes. So if it is half kg of tomatoes, it must be 40 divided by 2, which will be 20. And then he is buying 1 kg of potatoes. Since 2 kgs is 25 rupees, this has to be 12.50. Half kg of carrot. Since 250 grams is 20 rupees, it has to be 40 rupees. And then 250 grams of chillies. So since 100 grams of chillies is 10 rupees, 250 grams will be 25 rupees. And 6 lemons. Since 4 lemons is 10 rupees, then 6 lemons will be 15 rupees. Now, if we add these together, we'll get 112.5. Now, he gives a 200 rupee note to the clerk. So, which means that 200 minus 112.5. So that will give us 87.5, and that is the correct answer here. In this question, we have been given 3 statements and asked to identify the number on the basis of these statements. Now the first one is I am a 2-digit number. Now all of them are 2-digit numbers, therefore that statement doesn't help us much. The next one is the digit in tens place and the digit in units place are consecutive prime numbers. 5 and 7 are consecutive prime numbers, 2 and 3 are, 3 and 5 are, and 1 and 3 are. Therefore, this statement also does not help us much. The last one is the sum of digits is multiple of 3 and 4. Now the sum of the digits here is 12, here it is 5, here it is 8, here it is 4. Now since this number, the sum of digits, is a multiple of 3 and 4, it has to be divisible by 3 and 4 as well. Now if you look at it, 4 is not divisible by 3, therefore this cannot be the answer choice. 8 is not divisible by 3, therefore this cannot be the answer choice. 5 is not divisible by 3, so this also can be eliminated. 12 is divisible by 3 and divisible by 4 as well, therefore this is the correct answer. Incidentally, 12 is the LCM of 3 and 4, so that is also one approach to solve this problem. The parking rates of a car in a railway station parking are as follows. Rajeev parks his car at 7 AM and comes back to pick it up at 4:30 PM on the same day. How much money does he have to pay? Now, what we have to do is first calculate how much time did Rajeev park his car in the railway station. Now if he parks at 7 a.m. and he comes back at 4:30 p.m. then it means that he has actually parked his car for 9 hours and 30 minutes. Now if it is 9 hours and 30 minutes, up to 2 hours it doesn't fulfill this. More than 2 hours and up to 5 hours he's crossed this as well. And after 5 hours, 10 hours extra up to 8 hours. Now here we know that he has parked for 9 hours 30 minutes. So which means that up to 8 hours also does not apply. More than 8 hours and up to 12 hours. So Rajeev's parking fits into this option. So it will be 150 rupees. Therefore the answer is 150. Which of the following is at third place when the numbers are arranged in ascending order? Which means that we have to start with the smallest number first and proceed towards the largest number. Now if we arrange them, first will be 0.77 and then it will be 7.007 and then it will be 7.07 and then 7.70 and then 7.707. Therefore the third place will be 7.07 and that is the correct answer here. In a 5-digit number, the digit at tens place is 8, the digit at units place is 1/4 of the digit at tens place, the digit at thousands place is 0, digit at hundreds place is twice that of the unit place, and the digit at tens thousands place is thrice of the digit at the units place. So a lot of information has been given. So the easiest approach to this is to go step by step and start eliminating the answer choices based on the information available. For example, let's put 5 dashes so that we can start filling in the blanks. Now it's a 5-digit number, so 5 dashes. The digit in tens place is 8, so tens place has to be 8, which means that we can eliminate this and this because in the tens place they have 2. Next, the digit at units place is 1/4 of the digit at tens place, which means that the digit at units place has to be 8 divided by 4, which is 2, and both these numbers have 2 at the units place. Therefore we can't eliminate anything at this point. Next calculation is the digit at thousands place is 0, so which means that thousands place has to be 0, and this is the correct answer because there is 0 in the thousands place and this number can be eliminated. So if you want to do the next bit of calculation, you can do that and you will come to the same answer, but we have already arrived at the correct answer using just 3 bits of information. With this, we have solved all the questions from December 2019 paper 1 mathematics. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the messages below, and please do like this video, subscribe to our channel, and also share this video with your friends who are preparing for similar examinations. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you again in the next video.